I make a motion, we accept the minutes, June 21st, 2022, as a record.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Item 5.
Second, and a vote.
Yes, there was a second. Mike. Councilman, councilperson, councilmember, Cox. All of the above, second.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Not a problem.
Madam Vice President, did you get a motion?
We did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I guess I was someplace else, I didn't hear it.
I heard that.
All right.
Thank you.
No comment. Now we are at staff and board updates. Ms. Gorman?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Couple things. Laura advised me right before the meeting that we got the rotors. These were installed in the last CDBG grant phase. Now we've got the ability to clean it up. $80,000 approximately. Well, that's good news.
Thank you, Laura.
Love that. Y'all got the newsletter that was sent out in the last utility bill, so just wanted to let you know that went out, 2 pages, and I have extra copies if anybody would like one. And basically that, in the front, we talk about staff and big items, and on the back, we try and give you a little, the residents a little idea of what's been happening over the last month. I'm doing them quarterly, but everybody, I've got such positive results from everybody liking to hear what's going on. And we may have to go through a little bit more than a quarter, don't know. Anyway, what else do I have? House Bill 53, Wright Pierce completed their project with House Bill 53. One was stormwater needs analysis, the other is wastewater needs analysis, and this is what it looks like. That's what you paid for. They did thank you, Wright Pierce, for getting this in the county. I think we're the only city in the county that's done it. And this was mandated. I'm not sure, but I think. Anyway, so we're ahead of the game, and the nice thing about it was it wasn't a funded mandate. And a lot of work, it cost us money to get it done, so, yay, we got that finished. One more thing is, I'm on vacation starting Thursday afternoon through the following Wednesday. So I'll be available by phone if anybody needs me. With tag, gets to be it, but that won't be too bad.
Wednesday,
The day after
tomorrow?
tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, which is Thursday
Thursday
afternoon,
to
to the following
Wednesday.
Wednesday. I won't be too far away, but, I will be out. And part of my report is, and staff is right here, is when you're ready. They'd like getting an update on the project that they're working. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other staff for updates? Oh, sure. Shall we go alphabetical, or?
Yeah, and just a quick note from the, police department. Last week, as you all read, we had a rash of, car burglaries take place. With great teamwork between the Levy County Sheriff Office and the Williston Police Department, we were able to Detective Owen here this week, and lock your doors, keep what's yours. It's just a slogan, remember that in your head, lock your doors, keep what's yours. I know sometimes we get in a hurry, we forget, but just hit that little button, beep, 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 hear that horn blow, you know your doors are locked and your prized possessions of all your stuff you have in your vehicle is safe. So, with that being said, that's all I have from the police department currently.
Thank you, Chief Rawls. Mr. Barber?
Wanted to take an opportunity to address the water event we had starting last week and ending Saturday. Wanted to commend the staff and Public Works for all working together, all the divisions. It's very unusual to get a situation resolved as quickly as we did. You can ask anyone that lives in Brompton and other places in Levy County. It's usually much longer to have a boil water notice. The day of the event, we had a well go down. It is still down. We've diverted water from one of our other wells. We got the door cards out. We've got our repairs underway. We got the samples taken that day. There was no contamination. The BAT-T samples came back 100% good. We found that out a few minutes before the parade, so a bunch of us stayed late into Saturday and got all those notices out and notified everybody again that everything was good to go. So, it's very unusual to have that kind of a quick turnaround, so I wanna, like I said, thank the staff on every division. They did a great job. Also wanted to say that we had a wonderful time this year on 4th of July, and I wanted to thank Latricia and everybody that worked on it, everybody that supported us, all the other divisions, chief and everybody, and I just think it was a great event this year, so.
I do too. Thank you, Latricia, thank you, Mr. Barber, and your staff about the water situation. That was a mess. That was a mess, but y'all took care of it, and thank you. Anybody else? Miss Nelson?
I wanted to update an opportunity where last week I mentioned about the safety grant. We did apply for that and got pre-approval. And I want to say thank you to IT and Public Works Department that helped us submit some opportunities there. In my quest to restructure the HR program, I am looking for opportunities for where we can get grants, not small grants, not compared to planning, but opportunities for money savings in cases like that. And we will have next year a $28.75 savings where we can take advantage of Florida Legal City's EAP program. And so we're going to save some money next year just by transitioning to their program.
Keep saving money.
Yes.
We need the
Yes.
money.
Just want to update about that.
Thank you very much. That wasn't me.
I'd like to thank all those who had anything to do with me being Grand Marshal of the parade. It was a complete and total surprise. I didn't know anything about it until they told me to get in the car. And it was a wonderful parade, and I want to thank Miss Jackie for driving the car and getting the car, and everybody else who had anything to do with it. Thank you very much.
Handsome couple,
Yeah.
handsome couple. Mr. Bullock, you have anything? Mr. Cox?
Nope.
Okay. That's everybody?
No, ma'am.
Oh, that's right.
I just would like for the council to know that the Swanee River Legal Cities
Oh,
have reached out to the city of Williston to host the next meeting here in September. So I have, 2 dates I would like to give you all, so you can look at your calendar to see which date will work.
okay.
We're looking at September the 15th and September the 28th. So if we could decide on a date tonight, that would greatly be appreciated, so that way we can move forward to making sure we host a one.
I'm good on the 15th.
I'm good on the 15th.
I don't know.
Okay, Mr. Cox?
You there, Deborah?
Not sure, okay.
Put me down, and if I can't, I'll call.
Put you down for the 15th?
Yeah.
Deborah, if you're listening, put it on your calendar.
Yes.
Okay.
If not, we can have it here.
It would not be as good. as
It
having
wouldn't, but
it
if
there.
that's the second choice, I mean.
Yes.
Or
So,
over at Homestead.
Women's Club.
we have options.
We do. We'll leave it up to you, Ms. Wright. Okay. Anybody else? Let's go on to item 6, new business. Mr. Nichols said he was in there for staff update, and I just passed it right over.
Oh, good, I have some questions.
Walton Nichols
Thank you.
was right here.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, you have a little bit of a packet. It's kind of a past, present, and future of what we've been doing here for the city and what we're involved in and some things, the direction the city's heading to. So I don't want to go too much on the past, but You know, one thing, we were awarded the general services contract here, 5 years ago, July 7th of 2017, that is a 5-year term that is expiring in 2 days. It's got a renewal, contract portion of it, where if we all agree and we're in favor of it, it can be renewed by the city for an additional 5 years. And, you know, we're hoping that will occur. We enjoy working with you, but we hope that you find it a mutual thing, that you do get a benefit from us. You know, we're kind of entrenched in here. You know, Dennis Davis, he lives here, a member of the community, involved with so many of the things that go on here. I'm a resident of Gainesville. We have other staff that are here in Gainesville. I mean, we're a national firm, but we have a presence here in Florida and here locally. So we just want to assure you we're available when you need us, if you need us. And I enjoy working with you and your staff on a regular basis. I kind of go over an overview of some of the projects we've done in the past year. That is kind of history, but we've been involved from the City Hall to you know, your water treatment plant or the wastewater plant. On page 5, I want to just kind of touch on some of the ongoing projects that we are working on right now and what they're going to mean for the city of Williston. You know, the wastewater treatment plant phase 2. I've presented before some of the grants that we've gotten. We've completed the design and it's in construction right now. $3.7 million worth of grant money is going forward for that. John Henry Park has a $722,000 grant, and I'll go on that a little bit more too. We've done the design of some water and sewer replacements near John Henry Park. The roadway revitalization project for your infrastructure. Again, I'll touch on a little bit more of that on water, wastewater, and roads. Preparing construction details to get your standards set, so as development comes in the city, you've got some teeth, you've got some regulations that you can hold the developers to. We're working on the CDBG project, Lift Station 4 right now. That's going to be deadlines coming up here at the end of the month to apply for that. And we're looking at about a $700,000 grant opportunity there.
It is Denver.
And we're also working on the abandonment of Lift Station 16. As Jackie mentioned, we just submitted your House Bill 53 stormwater and wastewater needs analysis. This is showing, and I plan on doing a more formal presentation if you would like on the results of that. But basically, Williston isn't any different than a lot of the other communities. What we're showing is we look at the potential growth where things are going to happen. We look at both your stormwater and wastewater. There's shortfalls in your funding. And you're not unique in that regard. I think everybody's going to be showing. But what this House bill is, we've analyzed it, we've documented it, we're showing what that is. And it's going to be updated every 5 years for the next 20 years. But it shows the legislature where communities are at and what they need. So it's going to lead to grant opportunities. So we've set that foundation for, these are our needs, these are the things that need to happen here. This is the funding we have now, but there's going to be gaps going into the future, and that's what that report shows. It's going to take them a year to analyze all the data from all the cities and counties, so you probably won't hear anything for about a year is what they're saying. But we're looking for it to come out of this, so that's something we need to pay attention to. And we're also working on some other growth opportunities here. But I do want to, get some of these details. I do want to talk about what this means for the city of Williston. Right now, construction is starting at your wastewater treatment plant. It's going to get you, some additional capacity, keep you up to within the regulations that are needed for the plant to operate. New static screens, repairing the oxidation ditch walls, and some the oxidation ditch rotors. You've got some additional $0.7 million of grant money, plus another nearly $8 million with the construction manager at risk doing the wastewater treatment plant. They struggled to see if we can get some bidders. We did. The prices were just high. So we're rebidding that, but we're combining it with the water wastewater project that we had designed and combining it with Lift Station 16 abandonment, hoping that we get a better package that's more, it will get some interest. So we're doing that again to get that out. We'll be working with SwiftMud on the extensions, and I think we're going to ask them if there's some additional money available. They said that might be a possibility. Just the bidding environment we're in right now, prices are skyrocketing. way higher than when this grant was applied for. But that is ongoing right now, so we have those 3 projects that we're hoping that you can see go to construction here in 2022. As I mentioned, we're working, developing construction standards, and these are construction standard details that I'm working with Donald and Jonathan going over, some requirements. So when somebody comes in and develops within the city of Williston, these are the standards, and we're developing those. We've been through rounds of edits, we're fine-tuning those, so those should be, pretty much available here in the next month and ready to go. We're using them in our current design, so with Station 4, as a, like a test run to make improvements in the city, but they're also good for the city to be using too. So we're going to be doing that. So all that is happening with it. We're working on the infrastructure revitalization study, which looks at your water capacity, water issues, your water needs. It looks at wastewater, and it looks at your roads and things that Jackie talked about. So right now, where we're at is we've done those each individual analysis of the 3 systems to rank and prioritize. But what we're doing now is overlaying all those. Where do we, like we said, you've got water needs and the street that was talking about water. So we're looking at where do we have water deficiencies, where do we have wastewater deficiencies, where do we have the road deficiencies, and where all those overlap. Those are our highest priorities, so they should be the highest priorities, and we're going to bring that to you. So here's where you're going to tear up the road for a new water main. Well, now it makes sense, the road's in bad shape, let's do a roadway project, let's do a water project. And then you're going to just others, it's more efficient that way, you're only going to disrupt the neighborhood one, not going to put a water main.
That out by need, and also line us up for shovel-ready grants as we get these things design ready. So it'll give us the best bang for our buck dollar-wise and help us find.
People wanting to develop in Williston, it seems like it's really growing, and we've been involved in some of them, assisting with Public Works and Laura, a potential RV site, towns of Williston, Laurel Point, and many others. Well, those standard details are going to help you get those in now before this development starts coming in. So you've got some control, and you can control the development and the quality of the development that's going to happen. So we're assisting with that, and that's all ongoing right now too. Again, in the next 30, 60 days, you're going to see a lot of these things come to completion. And then we talked about House Bill 53, the stormwater needs analysis. It really is going to position you for some grant opportunities. I think people were kind of frustrated as the unfunded mandate, but the City of Wilson did the work, submitted it to the agencies, and I think you're in a position where we're demonstrating a need. So, and I do want to say, we presented our proposals for that work. Both of them, for the wastewater and the stormwater, came in under budget. We didn't before. And I want to thank Donald and Jonathan and Laura and Celine also. They met with us many times as we gathered data, gathered historical project costs, your maintenance budgets and things like that. Because of their help, we were able to speed this thing up a little bit. So staff helped out tremendously on that, and there was a savings that is coming back to the city. So anyway, that's kind of a nutshell of what we've been involved in for you and where we're heading. There's a lot of things going to be happening here in this year and beyond. So with that, if there's any questions?
Anyone have? Yes, sir.
5-year base agreement ends in 2 days.
2 days.
And we're hearing about it now. So I have a couple of questions. How much is the base agreement? Is it going up? Because this council, as I understand it, is going to be asked to extend it for 5 years with no knowledge of what the contract is and no knowledge. Everybody's going up. Are you not going up?
I think the agreement we have has a multiplier on our rates. that are used. So
Ah.
as the rates go on, there's a standard multiplier there that is applied to that.
And we don't have anything on our agenda saying that we have to decide anything tonight, because we have,
So when when these people can't make that decision tonight because it's not on their agenda,
No.
is our contract then null and void?
I think between a new contract being initiated, that would be a problem. If you came to us today with a new task order that we would need to initiate before that, that could be. But the projects that we are working on continue to go. Those are agreements. Now, this contract is what's called a general services contract.
Right.
So you put that out, you advertised it, and engineers with meeting the qualifications submitted, you reviewed and ranked them, and you selected a consultant. It does not, beyond that, it doesn't assign any work to us. It just allows you then to enter into more detailed contract when the need arises, and we call them task orders or work orders or POs. So renewing that, you could renew that, but then that doesn't, it wouldn't do anything essentially. It allows you then to enter in a more detailed agreement for a specific contract, like the CDBG lift station 4 redesign, or the infrastructure improvements, or the House Bill 53 work that we're doing. Those would be individual, that we come to you with a detailed price, our estimate of the hours, how much we think it's gonna cost, and we do that. That's subsequent to that. And we bring those to you each and every time.
Right, and we'll have that on the next agenda, completely detailed out for you. But right now, we don't have anything anticipated between now and then,
Yeah.
so we're good.
So we're good.
We're good. We'll
Okay.
we'll have these.
Because I just, I have been I've watched you and your company through the years. I've been very impressed with how diligent you are. And I was concerned when you put in this, that we have 2 days. It's not on our agenda. We can't extend this agreement because we're not allowed to.
No, we'll have it on the next one. They need to consider it the next.
Thank you. Yeah, because when I saw that, I'm thinking, you said that, I'm thinking, what just happened to us?
Yeah, the work we are doing that you've, specific task orders that you've hired us to do that are ongoing continues on.
Gotcha.
Those are previous, but anything new into the future.
So we don't have to go through that exhausting bidding process
Correct.
and all that because they can't vote on it tonight?
No, you
Okay.
don't have to redo that
I'm
bid
done.
process.
Automatic extension with your approval.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that original contract from 5 years ago specifically says 5 years to July this year, and there's an extension provision mutually agreeable by both parties. It can be extended for 5 years. That's all it says.
So do we need a consensus, Ms. Baloo?
I would have to see the contract first before I tell you comfortably
Gotcha, okay,
one way or the other.
all right, then we will, any other questions?
I'll get with Dennis, we'll get them.
Yes, but one last thing. Mrs. Gorman, Jackie,
Yes, sir.
would it be possible for you to give I don't vote, so I don't need to see it, but all these counselors a copy of the contract so they can know what they're voting on and educate them?
When I put it on the agenda, I'll have all that outlined. Is
Good
that
enough.
good, or did you want to prior?
No, I don't want
that's-
anything, I
that's
just
good.
wanted
I'll
to
have
bring
all
it
that
up.
for you.
No,
Yeah,
that's
I won't
good.
just ask you without it being in front of you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Good, we're good?
Thanks, everyone.
Page 9.
Thanks, Walt.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whoa, wait.
Oh, gosh. Creative.
On page 9, under benefits and activities in 22 and beyond, one of the things you've got down here, and I heard you say it, but I didn't want to interrupt your wonderful presentation. You've got city development and construction standards and details for private development. Does that mean that this is something that we're going to be doing?
We're creating city standard construction details.
So that we won't have to have our staff trying to deal with the situations that we are currently dealing with?
It should head off a
With,
lot of those.
yes,
It
without
can't-
putting any fingers or pointing any names?
Yeah. it gives them a developer coming in as they start to design, whether it be a new commercial building on a corner or a multi-residential subdivision. Now you have a basic set of standard construction details that the water connections need to be this, the water main needs to look like this is our standard hydrant, this is our standard backflow preventer. The roadway minimum criteria, it goes beyond your land development code, which has got that, now it's got the specific details. And we're doing about 50 plus or minus construction details was on our scope, plus notes and specifications that a developer needs to abide by as they work in here. And we are using those same criteria in lift station 4 redesign. I mean, the city's using those too. They're your standard also, so you're going to abide by that with your construction. So we're using that in our plans. We're using them for lift station 16 abandonment and things going forward. So we're kind of giving it the test run on the city project. But yeah, a developer comes in, it's going to make staff's life easier because this is a requirement. You need to do this. There's a lot of specifics on pump stations that they need to. These are the accepted pump models, and this is what it needs to be. It's got to be this because you've got clogging issues that you've been dealing with, that we've got a pump that minimizes that sort of thing. We're not getting the cheapest and the lowest price thing out there. We're getting a good product that your staff needs to deal with and maintain and become city property and these types of things. So those are things that we're doing right now.
And council, I think, and y'all know I've got 20 years of development under my belt, and I noticed that when I got here, we kept talking about DOTs. And a good example is when Blue Rock came in and they put in a fire hydrant, we have nothing that we can use to do any maintenance on a fire hydrant, because we have no parts. What this does is it helps standardize, helps our inventory and our parts, so if we accept the road with any of these, to have them, it's gonna make public works life a lot easier.
I'm done. Thank you, sir, for your patience.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Wait, I mean, I don't know if it's got to do with this or not, but what about for future development as far as like if somebody wanted to ever build a commercial building and there is city sewage right there?
And development code and your zoning code is going to address a lot of those things. The details are more the specifics. Our master planning that we're doing addresses sewer capacities, if somebody's going to come in, if there's issues, if things need to be addressed and things like that.
Let me explain that. What they're doing that fits what you're talking about is our infrastructure planning, our master planning.
Right.
So we'll come up with a 5-year plan that talks about where we're gonna have water, sewer, roads, okay? If you have a new development that comes in that doesn't have sewer and it's being planned in that 5-year plan, that's a tool for us to say, you can build, we don't have that extension until year 4. If you'll go in and build it, we'll reimburse you in year 4. You see what I'm saying? It helps development by getting it done sooner if it's needed, and has an opportunity for us to reimburse that developer when we would have had to construct it in year 4. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but I'm just talking more about just a little place here and here.
Yeah,
A
but
little spot over here, somebody's gonna build a commercial building, right here, or take on the way for the new, that thing they're gonna build. Why not find a way to get him tied on to the city to where we're making money off of it to help get our other utilities moving in the right
And
direction?
we do that during our site plan review to see if it's even need to help their development.
Yeah, but extensions of the sewer, that's only benefiting that particular development, those are gonna be under them, but we're gonna have the capacity analysis, we're gonna know the sizing of what it needs to be, we've got that in the master plan studies. And then these construction details then really go into the nitty gritty of, okay, if you're gonna do this, this is how you have to do it.
Right.
So we're right now in how you have to do it.
So you hand it to the contractor when they come in and they build our standards.
Yeah.
Right.
That was it.
Good? We're good? Everybody? Thank you, Mr. Nichols. Now, it's like a side eye over there. New business. A, demo of ballistic shield, chief Rolls and deputy chief.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, darn.
But it's all good stuff.
It's all good stuff.
All good stuff.
All good stuff. For those of you who've heard me speak about the ballistic shields that, I've been trying to acquire for the police department. This is a ballistic shield, on the shorter round, Chief. This is a ballistic shield. This shield is designed to, this current shield is designed to stop, pistol rounds, but they do make them that stop rifle rounds. These shields are designed to provide officers with protection if they have to go in on a subject that may be armed, or if they have to go into a school shooting. This shield is designed to neutralize their threat as they move forward to neutralize the threat that's causing the damage to your children or your family members or whoever. This shield is designed with a light on the front of it, very bright LED light, which is designed to incapacitate the subject so that as we're moving towards that individual, we can blind them with the light so we can go in. This shield could be used to go in and rescue officers or somebody that has been shot or injured. This shield provides cover to the officers of the vital organs of their body, the upper part of your body. I'm speaking on this because I once have been shot, and if it wasn't for that shield, me and probably several other people probably wouldn't be here today. So I'm a firm believer in the ballistic shields and its capacity and the importance of having them. Being on the SWAT team for 8 years, if you look around and you see a SWAT team that moves in to neutralize a threat, they all carry ballistic shields because it provides the officer another shield of protection when they're moving in. We all know that moving in towards a subject with a gun and just a vest, your head, your neck, your arms, everything's still exposed. With this shield, it gives that officer and the people behind him an opportunity to have some type of protection. With what's going on in the world today, with school shootings and mass shootings that are taking place, a lot of agencies enough time to be able to hold it and carry it without getting exhausted or tired. And as you can see from the deputy chief, as he stands behind that shield, his vital organs are covered. So therefore, if he needs to move in to neutralize the subject, or if we have a school shooting and we're trying to get in the door, the officers are not standing at the door with nothing. You can use that shield to block that door while the other officers make entry into that school building to rescue our children. So that is the importance of these shields. I know I've been preaching about them and talking about them for quite some time now. I'm asking tonight that the council moves forward with allowing us to purchase at least 4 of these shields at an amount of about $10,000. But $10,000 for the cost of the light is nothing. So I wanted to bring them in and demo them, show you what it looks like, so you know what you're looking at when you see it, and know what I'm talking about when we talk about ballistic shields. They are a very, 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 very important part of our arsenal that we need that we currently don't have. So if we have a mass shooting or something that takes place, we would like to be equipped with these shields as we move in to neutralize that threat. The question Wayne asked was how much is one shield. Depending on what shield you buy, like this shield is designed to stop pistol rounds. It runs about $2,100, and as you get higher in velocity of what you're wanting to stop with these shields, the price increases. So right now that one's about $2,100. That one's used to stop pistol rounds, but you can also buy them to stop rifle rounds.
That's what my question is, what caliber will this shield be effective with?
It will stop 44 magnums, it will stop 5.5, 57 millimeters up to 28 millimeters, 357s, 9 millimeters, 45.
High capacity 9.
High capacity round, 9 millimeter rounds that are used to penetrate ballistic body armor that we wear currently. This one is a level 3. The shields come in different levels. Level 3, level 3A, 2A. Currently that one's a level 3, which is designed to stop pistol rounds. If you go to a level 3, not the 3A, it will stop rifle rounds. Which if you look, most of these shootings that occurred, just like yesterday, that shooting they had, are happening with rifles. You know, they're using rifles. These shields, there's just no other tool to replace them. So like I said, talking from a person who's been shot, and it wasn't for that shield, which took the rounds that saved us, we probably wouldn't be here. So I'm a very, very, very opponent of shields. Any questions?
Yes, oh, yes.
Go ahead, Mayor.
You said the recent shootings,
Mhm.
a large extent have been with rifles.
Yes,
Did you not also say that this shield would not stop a rifle round?
I did, but they make shields that will stop rifle rounds as well. This one is a demo that I wanted to bring in. It's only designed to stop pistol rounds, but they do have them that stop rifle rounds.
The ones you're wanting to procure, will they stop rifle rounds?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're about $35,000 to $4,000 a piece.
So that's the four for the 10,000, is the rifle rounds, or are you talking about four of those for 10,000?
Not bad.
No, those are for the pistol rounds. If you get 4 for 10,000, that will purchase those shields right there.
How much do the rifle weigh, rifle fields?
How much do they weigh?
Yeah.
They average anywhere from 13 to 20 pounds.
Surprisingly, with technology today, 20 years ago, I would not be standing here holding this. A rifle round, Mike and I would both, the chief and I would both be having it on a trolley, rolling it in here and letting you look at it.
Yeah.
But because of the way they're designed today, the additional weight is not that much more.
They're a lot lighter.
Now, that one weighs 13 pounds also?
That one's 13 pounds, yep.
Both of them?
Mm-hmm.
Where would the four shields mainly be? Would it be one at each school already pre-positioned there with the cops that are there?
No, if we get 4 shields, we have 4 sergeants, so we would put a shield in each car. Because what will happen is, we don't want to have the shields positioned somewhere, like in a school or in a PD, and something happens, and we have to drive all the way back to the school, all the way back to the PD to get them. So, the plan is to put one in each supervisor's car, that way if we have something, we have a lot of schools in Williston. And what happens is, if something was to take place in a school in Williston, we're probably gonna be there before Levy County gets all its people there. But we don't have the time to wait for them to come with their stuff for us to go in. So this will give us an opportunity to go in and neutralize the threat as soon as possible to end whatever destruction is taking place.
Okay, help me with my math.
Mm-hmm.
These shields, which will stop a pistol round.
Right,
A high-powered pistol, but a
yes,
pistol round.
yes.
Or what you're suggesting that this council should consider, why are we not doing the one for the rifle round, which is the predominantly used weapon in these shootings? How much more can they possibly be?
The rifle round shields are around $3,000 to $3,500.
And this is?
$2,100.
So $1,000 more.
Yes.
I'm trying to get numbers.
Yes.
So for 4 shields, it would be $4,000 more, rough numbers.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know how.
Where we gonna get the money?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we gonna get the $10,000?
Or the 14,000, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
It's just, it's up for consideration, just, I wanted to bring it to the council so you can see what we've been talking about, and not just hear us talking about it.
If I was presenting it, I would go for the rifle.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that makes
Okay.
sense. However,
Barbecue cookouts.
Yeah.
that's right.
Some fundraising.
Yeah.
So it's just, I just wanted to bring it to the council so you can see, hear what it costs, know what they're capable of doing, and understand why I'm moving towards trying to get these shields.
Oh, I understand.
I know Laura's working on a grant, to try to see if she can help us out with that as well.
Good.
You know, that grants take time, and it's not where, it's when something's gonna happen. So I wanted to bring it to the council so y'all be able to see exactly what the ballistic shields are designed for, and the reason why we're looking at trying to move
I
forward.
see the need for them, especially in this day and age, which is so sad. However, I would go for the rifle.
Sure, absolutely.
I would say the rifle or none.
Absolutely.
Laura can do magic with grants.
She can.
If I may, council, we have submitted a grant for, we can pay for a few, but I think that, the chief's plan here is to try and get as many as he can, even if it's gonna spread it out over a couple of years. So
Yes.
even if you just wanted to buy one rifle, one for him, I think FMIT also has some opportunities with that safety grant to buy one at a time. I think we put in for 15, but, did we put in for 15? We put in for 10.
How did we go from
Right?
4 to 15?
How many did you put in for? I'm sorry, I do so many grants, chief. What did I put in for?
I don't even remember the
But,
name.
they'll go directly to the manufacturer to ask for, them, and they may give us less than what we asked for, they may give us more, so, you never really know, but it's not a cash grant, it's direct from the manufacturer.
It's the product.
Mhm.
And here's the thing of it, I understand that the money's gotta be there, I understand that. But something is better than nothing. And currently, we have nothing. So, I understand. So, I wasn't coming in here trying to blast you out and say, hey, I need $15,000. I wanna make you aware of it, I want it to be considered as we move forward. And it has been included in the budget and the capital outlay. But like I say, it's not where, it's when. So, here we are.
Laura, if the council elects to purchase these, they cannot get reimbursed for an existing purchase out of the grant situation, correct?
Well, that's correct, but like I said, this particular grant that we went after, these shields, was direct from the manufacturer. So if we got them all and we didn't need any, we could decline, the grant award, if we didn't need any more, but I don't think we could ever not need them, you know, I think.
Now, I need one for my house when my wife has it.
But this will be his, you know, his fundraising goal for the next year or so, but we hope we can fulfill this pretty quickly.
Has Steve Bloom been informed of this?
He has.
He has.
Yes.
And what is it?
And what does Mr. Bloom have to say about it?
Mr. Bloom said if it was 15,000 or less, we're good to go.
Oh, did
In the
Yes.
next budget, right.
he? In the next budget?
Right.
He didn't.
He didn't say next budget.
Oh, he said now
He
he
said
has
now.
available?
He said
Yes.
now?
Yeah, I mean, here's what we're looking at. We can't dictate when an event is going to occur.
Right.
That's what we're looking at here. We have no control over what may occur.
Yeah.
And we have been living on borrowed time. With a voice like mine, you need this on?
And we have been living on borrowed time for a long time. The chief has presented it to the council. We have talked to finance. It's doable. I am just asking the council to consider, if you can't do 4, give our chief something to work with to try to save children's lives and other people's lives.
Mr. Bloom said 15 was
Yes.
good, was doable.
And I can always reach back out to him just to confirm that, but yes. Christina?
15 what?
Thousand.
1,000
4.
Not $15.
For 4.
for 4.
Well, not 15 units either.
And I will say too, we have the safety grant.
Microphone.
You and me.
I will say that we have the safety grant award that comes through every quarter. And if, you know, during our next submission, we can submit them and up to half of that money back.
Back. That's the word I want to hear.
Okay.
I like to hear that,
So
back.
it's really
Now
a
we're
great
talking.
Yeah.
opportunity
Yeah.
for them to make some of that money back, so it's a win-win,
If we
really.
buy 1 a quarter.
Nice.
Exactly, something better than
Right.
nothing. Exactly.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Mr. Cox?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you or are we gonna get layouts of the school? So like your deputies, you know, if there is an event that something happens, God forbid, in a school, you guys have like maps and layouts of the school to
Right.
assist you?
Yes, actually, there was a walk through the school today, and there'll be a walkthrough, I think, tomorrow as well.
And Thursday.
And the next day through the schools, which we will be attending to make sure that we know the outlay and understand the outlay, because if something happens, we wanna get there quickly and we wanna react. And I don't wanna throw shade on anybody, but if you look at some of the last shooting that happened, there was a lot of downtime. So, we don't want downtime. If there's something going here, we wanna respond, we wanna respond quickly, we wanna be as safe as we can, and we wanna get in there and eliminate the threat as soon as possible.
So-
This is something that will help us.
In the small schools also?
It's small, it doesn't matter, that shield doesn't care where you carry it.
Okay.
And the only thing I care about the shield is that it do what it did for me, is stop those bullets.
Yeah, because I think you and I discussed the last time, there with the shootings and some things that had taken place.
Right,
You know, so.
absolutely, absolutely. It's something for you to consider. Thank you. Any other questions?
Briefly, will remind council, we do have a purchasing policy, which states that anything over between $3,000 and $10,000, we're gonna need 3 written quotes with bids. And if it's between 3 and up to 10, Jackie can approve it upon a purchasing order being given.
Right, we have received no action right now, requested. But if it's the will of the council, Jackie can proceed. Up to 10.
Correct. What my point is, these processes of getting these bids can often be drawn out. So if this is something that the council is wanting staff to start drawing up, we can start drawing that up without. There doesn't need to be a formal resolution on this agenda tonight in order to get that to staff so they can get those for us and we can get the process moving.
Gotcha. What's the will of the council? Any other questions?
Questions, I think we need to get 1 or 2 of them as quick as we can, at least.
I agree.
What do we gotta do to do that?
Move forward, Mr. Cox? Yes?
Do you wanna do 2 now and 2 next budget?
I think we can split them.
Yeah, yeah.
Two next budget.
2 now and 2 next budget.
2 now, 2 later.
Yep.
And that'll give us an
And
opportunity
that will
also to
give-
look at the grant.
Ms. Nelson, time for the safety grant.
Yeah.
Good?
2 now.
2 now, 2
and,
later.
4,000 each.
We don't have to.
Give or take. yeah.
Give or take, yes.
If they get 2, we don't have to bid them out. If it's less than 10.
It's-
Then 3.
We'll have to do it, it's more, it's,
But we can get quotes less than 10, right, you don't have to go to bid. You have to. Remind
So sorry. Purchasing policy is between $3,000 and $10,000, you have to get 3 written quotes or bids.
Right.
Between $3,000 and $10,000, Jackie can approve it. If it's over $10,000, you still have to get 3 written quotes or bids, but the council has to approve it.
You can give me 3 quotes.
so give us 3
On
quotes.
Get 3 quotes.
I can get you 3, yeah, I can get 3 quotes, yeah, in like, no time.
Rifle.
Rifles.
Yes, the rifle.
Okay, great.
Good?
Good.
Good?
Good. Oh, Mr. Barber.
We were talking, because we do a lot of purchasing, isn't there an exception to that if it's deemed an emergency by the council?
Or sole source, one of the 2.
Correct.
There is an emergency exception. The emergency exception is really for emergency things. For instance, we purchased a fire equipment because that was an emergency insofar as if there was a fire, we wouldn't be able to address that situation.
But by the time the order takes place, won't the school year have started?
Yes.
I didn't get the question, I'm so sorry.
But that's the same condition with them. If the school year starts, if they were to order it now, they wouldn't have them yet, but right before school started or as school started.
As someone who is involved in the community and someone who, my siblings go to school, I sympathize. My concern is that as your attorney, I will have a much easier time arguing if it comes to a court proceeding that a fire truck replacing something that had broken down or needed to be repaired immediately was an emergency, whereas a shield wasn't an emergency, especially because we've had the chief testify that we can have 2 this year and 2 next year, and that we don't need them tomorrow.
But remember, it's not where, it's when. And it could be tomorrow, we could be utilizing this, and I think that, yeah, and we have daycares here in Williston, and I think the chief said it best the other day, even though he was just joking around with the salesman, is that if something jumps off, we're using that thing. Even though it's a demo, we're gonna use it, so.
Absolutely. What did they say the turnaround time is, if you ordered them?
Well, that one, he bought that to me in 2 days, so,
Right, so
the
basically-
turnaround time is pretty quick.
So basically, if we get everything, if you bring us 3 bids in by our next meeting, we should be able to move forward and have them very fast.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, without
Or
having to
Jackie
do the
can approve.
emergency.
Or Miss Jackie can approve them.
Jackie can approve.
Really quick, I will,
3 quotes for 2, we'll do them.
3 quotes for 2, we'll do it?
We'll do them.
You got it. Thank you, council. Thank you,
I
everyone.
believe that you had a question?
I just had a question. Cassandra Williams, city, resident of the city.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear you either.
Move back, please, sirs.
When I worked at the University of Florida, we
Could you
had.
get closer to the microphone? I cannot hear you.
Neither can I.
Thank you.
Okay. When I worked at the University of Florida, I did a lot of purchasing myself. And there was a form that we typically used that was a sole source form. Does the city have such a form or such a policy?
We understand sole source and we purchase sole source. I don't know that we can sole source these. That's up to the chief. Might be if the make and the model and the specific type of shield is only made by one company, then yeah, we can sole source it.
I mean, sole source it from that particular vendor that provided this for tonight.
My understanding of sole source must be different. My understanding of sole source is you're limited on how many manufacturers there are for the product. I don't know that we have that problem.
So we're still
We don't
required
have
to
that
get
problem.
3 bids.
Yeah, 3 quotes.
3
not
quotes.
bids, yeah.
Bids, quotes.
All they're gonna do is call and get a quote.
Right.
So it's not like we're advertising a bid on this one.
Okay, so.
Make it a little easier, anyway.
Okay, so I'm just, need to be clear, so the city does not have a quote-unquote sole source
We sole source.
certification.
We do certification I'm not familiar with.
If I
We
may.
understand sole source, but I've never heard of having a certification.
I mean, when I say sole source certification, I'm thinking of previous employment, that's what we actually call the form, a sole
Oh, I
source
see what you're
certification
saying.
form.
We don't have that. We recognize sole source and we use it when we can, but this is not a sole source situation.
Okay.
Okay, that means limited manufacturers of the product, that you have a real hard time getting that product because it's rarely made. You really only have one type of manufacturer, that's sole source, to me.
Okay,
Now,
that
has
is-
changed, I'm not aware.
Okay, that's to you, but it was a different term when, from where I actually worked.
Okay, I'll ask.
Madam Vice President, I think it may be helpful to read just the definition of sole source and the definition of emergency from our purchasing policy so that everyone's on the same page now and going forward. So sole source, according to our purchasing policy, is the only existing source of an item which meets the needs of the user department as determined by a reasonably thorough analysis of the marketplace. So that's what Jackie said, which is, it's one manufacturer that makes it. An emergency is procurement made in response to certain emergencies or when the delay caused by complying with all governing rules, regulations, and or procedures would be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the city or its citizens, or would create a hardship on the reasonable conduct of business in a timely fashion. Lack of planning or funding surpluses do not justify emergency purchases.
So, we don't have either one of those, so.
Right.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
We'll still be able to move fast.
We'll go, right.
I'm Joel Penny. I've been a citizen for like 20 years here. I was here my whole life, but I disagree with you. But anyways, is there a way before y'all decide to get one, and if it takes a couple of weeks or whatever, can they borrow one from like Gainesville PD or Ocala PD or Orlando or Tampa, figure something out so there is protection for them? Because that is bull crap.
It's
Sorry.
an adopted
Put
policy
it
that is in
bluntly.
place. So we take that seriously, but that'll be for Chief to answer.
I can answer that. I've reached out to other agencies to, get shields, and they themselves are buying shields. So, they don't have any to spare. And, you know, you may be able to get some that's expired, but I don't wanna put my officer's hands in an expired item, so, I would prefer
Right,
that.
I can see if he gets the quote that's required, we get the agreement, Jackie agrees to it, he could probably have it in a week.
Yes.
Let's move on.
We'll take care of it.
Thank you, Jackie.
If
Thank
I
you,
may,
Chief.
one, I know that we live in the time of land obsolescence. You said expired. These shields have a shelf life?
Yes, they do, just like our bulletproof vests, they have an expired date, yes.
This one's 10 years.
That was 10 years.
Alright, so that is what we're really looking at, is 10-year replacement,
Right, correct.
assuming it's still in good shape.
Correct.
I just, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You got perfectly good shield, throw it away because it's 10 years old. I know.
Yeah.
I think I'd keep it around just in case.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
We'll move on it, thank you. Okay, next is Resolution 2022-33, a resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Mr. Daniel Stewart to the Planning and Zoning Commission for the remainder of the term of vacant seat 3, beginning July 5th, today, ending December 6th, 2022, and providing an effective date. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. We had one of our planning and zoning commission, or sell their house and leave the city. So we have an open seat. Their seat is only open till December. I did have a application waiting from Mr. Stewart, because we do have another seat that's gonna open at the end of the year. And, so we went ahead and asked if he would be willing to serve now, and he was. So we will have 2 open seats at the end of the year. Hopefully Mr. Stewart would like to, do it again if you guys appoint him, and then we'll be good to go for 4 years after that.
Okay, is Mr. Stewart here?
No.
No. No. Did everybody read his application?
We have to have a motion on that?
Yes, we do, but I was just
I
seeing
will.
if, I was just seeing if Mr. Stewart was here.
Okay. Apparently it's not. I'll make a motion, we reappoint him for a second go round.
Thank you.
It's his first go around.
This is his first for
His
planning and
first.
zoning, but he is on our CDBG task force, and,
He's on a different committee.
Mhm.
I make a motion that we put him on, what is it, managing, or the, planning? Planning and zoning.
Now, I got my motion on the floor, what you gonna do with that?
Your motion was different, you said that you redo it, he's not in yet. He's not in, this will be his first time serving. So all I did was.
Okay, I will withdraw my motion.
There you go. So, see, all I did is said that we put him on.
I will withdraw.
I made a motion though, if you would like to second.
Second.
Okay.
I got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is for the term.
The term
Till
today?
December.
Till December, correct. Any
Yes, sir, we'll have
discussion?
to do this all again in December.
December. All in favor? Say aye.
That means you were for them all.
Opposed, same sign. There you go, Ms. Jones, you have another member.
Thank you.
Okay, got it. Resolution 2022-37, that reads differently. Hold on, 1 second. Find the correct reading. I'm just gonna put the chief again. 11. Got it. Resolution 2022-37, a resolution of the Council of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, authorizing the execution of an application for federal assistance to assist the Williston Police Department with purchase of 2 patrol vehicles. Mr. Deputy Chief Brevard.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having me here tonight. For those of you who are not aware of what this grant is, there's a few new members on the council here tonight. The United States Department of Agriculture assists rural areas in the purchase of vehicles, specifically law enforcement vehicles, first responder vehicles. And this particular grant that we're looking at, as we're trying to move forward in it, there is a 25% match to the cost of the grant. So it means the federal government picks up 75% of the cost of the vehicle, the total cost of the vehicle, up to $100,000. We've done this since 2014, I think. It's a reoccurring thing. Last year, as the council knows, we skipped a year because this will go into our capital budget to the tune of probably about $102,000. Now, we originally signed up for the grant last year, and it's one of those kind of grants where you don't just simply just put all the paperwork together and send it in. It's actually kind of a living thing that as you go through the steps in the process, you put your figures and your money in there, and then the reality is at the end, as we've all seen with the economy today, the cost of the vehicles have gone up. So we're still at the original price of the grant, which is roughly the federal government paying, I believe it is
73.
Yeah, 73,000. Yes, ma'am. 73,000. So, and then we'll have to pick up the additional cost of the two vehicles or whatever they actually may turn out to be. Last year we quoted Tahoes. The chiefs had long discussions with the staff about what will be the better vehicle. Currently, the Tahoes aren't even available for purchase. What this will do, the resolution tonight, just moves us one step closer to making that process work where we can get the USDA on board and where we can get the money into our capital going forward for next budget cycle. So the reality is, this isn't something we're going to buy tomorrow. It's not going to buy next week. We're not going to buy it in September. What we may do, if we get it approved in our budget, and we get the authorization through the resolution, and we pick the appropriate vehicles that's going to meet the needs of our agency, may put into order for them for the sole purpose of paying for them out of the next budget cycle. Now, what I can tell you, the neat thing about this grant, which will be next October, the neat thing about this grant is that because all the work's done on the front end, the very day that we take delivery of the vehicle and we put a tag and insurance on it, the United States Department of Agriculture will cut us a check and deposit in our bank electronically within like 3 days. So it is an extremely quick turnaround. So this is just the next step. It does require a resolution. It requires participation by the public. So we're doing two things here tonight. We're looking for the resolution and providing the opportunity for the public to speak about this grant. Out of all the grants that I've seen, probably this is the one that is the most consistent in coming through every year, time after time after time after time. Does that mean 100%? Absolutely. At the end of whatever their fiscal year is, that something catastrophic couldn't occur, and the government would have some issues with funding this. That is a very, very, very remote possibility that has not occurred as long as I know they've been doing these grants. So this is about as good as it gets. So that's what we're here tonight. Take that next step.
Any questions for Deputy Chief about this? Mr. Cox?
Deputy Chief, do we find that the Tahoes are just holding up a lot better than the Chargers?
Well, you remember in 2018 for our Tahoes, right? And also the chief wants to speak again. The 2018 so far have held up very well. So except for like braking issues and things like that where, you know, city driving, you're just going to have those. The Dodge Chargers, and the chief can jump in anytime if he'd like, they have consistent problems throughout the life of those vehicles. In other words, from the 2013s to the ones that we have today, they have all the same problems that Dodge or Chrysler or Fiat, who owns them, obviously has no intentions of changing them. The chief has done research on the Explorers, and one of actually Ford makes a Pursuit package vehicle for a truck that we can look at also, but the new Explorers, the ones with the front engine V6 rear wheel drive layout, are, from what we're hearing from other fleet managers, are having very little problems with the maintenance. So, and that's kind of the way we're moving away from the Dodges. I like Dodges. I think they're good looking cars. They run really well. I'll be quite honest with you, they're very fast. But they all have the same problems time again, time again. And we're probably looking at a product that's going to give us maybe better longevity. So the Tahoes are good vehicles. we just don't have enough information, Chief, unless you have something for the Tahoe?
No, the Tahoes that we currently have seem to have been very, very, very successful. Like the deputy chief was saying about the Chargers, is the cost of the maintenance is steady climbing, because these problems are starting to develop where they're throwing the fans through the radiators and destroying the air conditioners and brakes and front ends. They're starting to slowly break down, which, like I said, I'm a Dodge fan myself, but over time, they just fall apart. And that's what we're experiencing now. So this year, next year, we're looking to get a vehicle that we've gotten reports on that have held up very well with very few problems.
The Prius?
Yeah, yeah.
It was a Yugo. It was a Yugo.
So if you're not familiar with our plan of how we rotate the vehicles out of the fleet, some of you may not be, you know, our vehicles are technically, if you include the airport, are on a 9-year life cycle, right? So the vehicles that we buy today, or the ones we get today, will rotate down into the fleet. The 2 oldest vehicles that are being operated by the officers will now rotate to spares, and the best spare out of that group that are still available will go to the airport, and they'll use it as a vehicle. And then eventually, when that cycle repeats itself again, that vehicle comes back, and we then give the airport another vehicle, or 2 vehicles, or 3, as we've done in the past. So just keep in mind that we're on a 2-year cycle for changing out vehicles, and we skipped last year, you know, but we're hoping that the vehicle longevity and the ones we're buying today will allow us to make that skip and still hold up, so.
So you're asking us to approve basically a purchase of the 2 vehicles at a cost of $24,000?
It's actually a resolution,
Well,
just
through
to.
the resolution.
Yes, ma'am, to move us forward in the process and provide the public with an opportunity to speak on the event.
And to get those into the rotation.
Yes, ma'am, and then, like I said, next step will be the approval, the final approval from USDA, which I expect will come shortly after this meeting, right? And then the final approval would be to get it into our calendar in October 1, and then pull the trigger on ordering them, and getting them in.
Any questions for Deputy Chief? Questions? Nothing? No? You had yours? That's it? That's all you get? Do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2022-37.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? We'll go with the vote. No? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Discussion with possible action amendment to the extension of interlocal agreement crossing guard. Ms. Gorman.
I'm realizing I didn't attach a resolution for this one, so the last one agenda that they threw at me from the Lee County School Board, and I was anxious to get something in there, so I need to bring it back to public.
Okay.
Basically, what this does is every year we, just amend our existing interlocal.
Right.
And we're trying to keep up with minimum wage. So we know this year, minimum wage goes up to $11 an hour, but we're already paying more than that for this year's crossing guard.
We're gonna table that?
Yeah, let me
For the
bring it back
time.
with the resolution.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Discussion with possible action? Yeah, there's no resolution there. Request for temporary fuel surcharge adjustment. Ms. Gorman.
Yes, ma'am. Tonight we have GFL, Skip Collins here representing GFL to talk to you about a request for temporary fuel surcharge adjustment. They are our contracted waste hauler at this time, and I just won't elaborate on anything. I'll let him do it. Sandy's standing up here. Skip, if you want to take it away.
Please don't allow me to steal your thunder.
No, it's okay. Go right ahead.
These are quite new to me, so in my life, this all happens as we get a little older, right? Unfortunately.
Need some more?
Welcome to our world.
It's one of those things, right? Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm, for the record, Skip McCall with GFL Environmental. I'm the Government Contracts Manager. As you may be aware, GFL is the city's current residential and commercial solid waste provider. GFL commenced services in June of last year, as you may remember, in 2021. Over the past 12 months, our company has been adversely impacted with soaring inflation and rising fuel costs. When GFL solidified our contract with the city last year, we were paying around $3.17 a gallon for diesel fuel, and about $1.35, and 75 cents a therm for CNG. We run a mixed fleet of trucks in here. We run diesel fuel, but the majority of them are CNG as well. So I wanted to give you kind of the breakdown of both fuel, of diesel and CNG, so it is a fair comparison. We are now paying $5.73 a gallon for diesel fuel and $1.35 a therm for CNG. This represents an 80% increase since June of 2021 on both diesel and CNG fuel. GFL has absorbed these increases over the past 12 months and has done so without jeopardizing collection services. Unfortunately, we are now at a point to ask the city for temporary fuel relief, and the key is temporary fuel relief. GFL is asking that the City Council consider allowing GFL to temporarily adjust our residential and commercial rates by 10% effective August 1st of 2022. GFL will continue to monitor monthly fuel costs, and should fuel become the equivalent of $3.17 a gallon, GFL has no problem with going back and readjusting the 10% off of the rates that, if you were so to approve tonight. Again, just want to say we appreciate our positive public-private partnership and the city's consideration for this temporary request. Thank you for allowing me to present this evening, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So you're asking for us to increase the city residents, their household, 46 cents per household, correct? According to your, Ms. Gorman.
No, that's the explain the difference.
CPI, I'm sorry,
CPI,
okay.
right.
Yeah, this is not CPI, this is just a temporary fuel adjustment.
The CPI is automatically worked into their contract every year.
Good.
Correct.
Got it.
Right, that's what this is. They're talking about an increase over and above that.
And in your package tonight, you should have included the chart for the CNG per therm, and then, of course, obviously the fuel. Okay.
Explain it, sir.
Yeah, so, by the way, Kevin Smith is our general manager. He's been with the company going on 7 years. I've been with them going on now 8 years. He is on vacation with his family, so unfortunately he could not be here tonight. But essentially, a therm is how we purchase our CNG through Gainesville Utilities. So it's kind of like, we don't look at it as a per gallon standpoint as we do with diesel fuel. That's what they basically charge us when they use that terminology of therm. Basically is how they make that calculation. So if you could see back in last year, I think we're paying $48,000 more currently now for the therm than we did June of 2021 for CNG.
And CNG is your compressed natural gas, that's what.
Correct.
In the proposal, as I understood it, there was a proposal that when diesel dropped to $3.71 a gallon, that you would, at that point, no longer require the surcharge, but it doesn't address the thermal.
Yeah, I think it just it looks at just the diesel fuel itself, but we added the CNG in here because we do run CNG equipment. So and it actually it's 80% increase across the board for both of those fuel products, for diesel and CNG.
Okay, but is every reimbursement or stopping the surcharge related just to diesel? And if CNG goes down, there is no reduction in the surcharge? I'm trying to understand how you're combining the two energy components, but doing the reduction on only one.
I'm not familiar with the 371 that you're referring to that was in that proposal.
317.
Oh, okay, yes, 370. Yeah, okay, no, you're good. So, no, the 317 basically was our analysis when we looked at June of 2021 of what the actual diesel fuel cost was at that point compared to now. And again, using the therms as that same analysis as well, looking at the difference of 75 cents then a therm. Yeah. I'm trying to get away with not doing that, but to $1.35 now. But thank you, but yeah.
So in the contract you did with the city, when y'all originally give us a price for the contract, the fuel was included in your all-in price?
That's correct.
But, so you didn't have no national fuel rate added to it or anything along them lines?
That is
Y'all do
correct.
that on some contracts?
So it's very interesting that you bring that up. We have just solidified a contract with a city, and we actually added in a fuel surcharge provision because right now, 2 years ago, 18 months ago, we were not seeing these fuel spikes that we're seeing now, as we all know. So to answer your question, when we were going through the city of Williston's proposal or procurement process, there was no fuel surcharge provision, just specifically a CPI type of adjustment. But no, and to be honest with you, a lot of the industry has not included fuel surcharges for the last 10 years. It's been pretty stabilized, but as we see now with fuel prices over $5 a gallon, you're gonna start seeing it show up in a lot more contracts, I'm sure.
Yeah, so basically then this is just a straight request, just kind of asking if you have.
That's correct. I mean, we just.
It's not in the paper that we have to.
Correct. I mean, this is something that I was speaking with Ms. Gorman about. We cherish our public-private partnerships with all of our municipal accounts. We try to go above and beyond and provide additional service if needed, or we're involved in your events throughout the year with providing dumpsters or supporting local events. So we look at this as a positive and solid public-private partnership, and yes, it's strictly just an ask to temporarily give us some relief until hopefully fuel costs start to stabilize. And then again, we'll look at this month to month to month, and if we see that it is going down and we're able to make that 10% adjustment, we're willing to do so.
Well, I noticed that you put on there that you wanted it to go all the way back down to what it was when we first went into the agreement with you. But I mean, the chances of that is probably pretty unlikely.
Well,
There's not some sort of a leeway in the middle to say, look, we're operating okay now where we are.
Yes.
If fuel gets back to,
maybe it's $4 or
40% or,
yeah.
some percentage rate. I mean, I write these contracts too, and I sell them with fuel
Okay.
surcharges, so I know a little bit about it, and it's tough.
Yeah. No, I mean, Counselor, we're willing to work in good faith with the city on a month-to-month basis to assess our fuel costs. And if we get to the point where we meet with our general manager and district.
Do we have a rough idea of what that 10% is per individual in my home?
I was just gonna ask you, you could say what that means for residents.
It's about $1.19 more a month.
For residents.
Correct, that's correct.
$1.19 plus then the 47 cents for CPI.
Yeah, whatever the CPI adjustment ended up being. And that was another thing, it was like 3.9%, so it was pretty, CPI is usually, it doesn't really take into account how much for
Increasing
fuel.
$1.66 per resident? Is that what that means?
Yeah, I'm sorry, was it again?
Be increasing per resident, $1.66?
That sounds about right, correct.
Right, $1.19 plus 47.
That'd be the total increase.
Right.
Be a new contract, or is this just straight help?
This is just temporary fuel help. Yeah, this is not anything that, again, that's why I preface it as temporary relief. And again, once that point of fuel where it drops to where we can give that back, we're willing to do that.
I mean, it's what I would like to do is I don't know if we have to have anything in the writings or not, but at some point to where we feel the fuels come back down, maybe we recontact you and say.
I will give you another presentation, and we have no problem doing that.
That'd be fair. Mr. Cox? Okay, yeah, that's a good one, okay. Mr. Ross?
My main concern is that you know, it's gonna come back now, as long as gas prices and diesel come back down.
Yeah.
You know, I know no matter what industry you're in, there's fuel charges being in, you know, going up. I experienced it in the businesses that I ran, you know, so. Some are a little more than what you're asking.
I'm sure, yeah, it's been pretty impactful for sure, and, you know, again, it's going back to that question earlier about having fuel surcharge in future agreements. I can definitely see that coming back for sure.
If I may, so you're gonna, if this gets approved by council, you'll start adding this on
In
the
August.
September bill, or in October?
It'd be your September bill for August.
For one of them.
Correct.
Right, and then you'll start the CPI at the end of, well, in November. for
That's
October,
correct.
right? Okay. Would you, if council approves this, would you agree to add something to the bill?
To show the,
To
itemizer.
explain that to
Yep.
the residents?
Sure.
And what, into commercial?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that
Fair,
okay?
that's fair, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think we gotta take out that it's gotta come all the way back down to 317 before there's a decrease back down on it. Cause I mean, when you do the national fuel rate goes down, when I sell it, you know, their price goes down when fuel goes down, which ain't happened in a while, and I have to explain that to people every day. So, I mean, something maybe in the wording there, or like a percentage, saying that, hey, if it gets to, you know, I don't want an exact number in it.
Sure. So like the overall increase right now from year over year is about 80%. So we could maybe preface it as, should fuel drop a certain percentage, whatever that is, then we will readdress that with the city and council.
I got a feeling my customers would tell me to go pound sand if I was calling them on that.
Madam Vice President, I would recommend that we have an addendum to our current contract, which lists all of this out in writing.
I agree. Can we do that?
And I'd also put a table on this so we can understand how that is
Yeah.
applied, because after you apply the CPI, that 10% is gonna be added on top of that, right? So we just need to make sure we understand what the table is and how often we're gonna visit it to make sure that it's in writing. So we can prepare something, can you prepare that and send it to us for review?
I can work with your city attorney. If
I'll
you
give you
can
my card.
Give me your card, absolutely, and then we can converse and add some of the comments that we were talking about tonight into the addendum. And I think we could probably have that turned around quick enough, provided city attorney's schedule for the next council meeting.
Is council in agreement to that, or?
That's good, they
Can you bring it back?
bring it back, sit on.
Well, I'd like to see it on paper.
Do y'all pre-buy y'all's fuel?
No, we used to be able to buy in bulk, but as of right now, the way that the economy is, that's an option that's, we've been struggling with as well. It's kind of because of the unknown, they're not gonna step out on a limb for that.
Mr. Ross, do you have anything to add?
Mr. Ross, what you got?
Nothing? Oh, I thought it.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Cox?
No,
I would like to see it in a copy. Okay. Thank you.
Good enough, thank you.
I mean, I just paid $400 utility bill, what the heck? It's another $1. $2.
My electric bill's $400.
Thank you. Next is our second public participation. Do you want to come up? 5 minutes, Ms. Appling?
Are we the only ones that we're not getting picked up? Because if you are asking for more money, we want our service. Are we the only citizens?
Oh, I did too all the time.
If I may, GFL wasn't here during the first, so he probably doesn't know exactly what's going on, because he wasn't here during the first
Was
public
this the
participation.
is it Fourth Street and Eighth Avenue?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes.
I caught kind of the
Okay.
end of that. I've got it written down on for me to go look. at.
Please take
It
care.
happened more than once.
Yes, I got you.
Please.
My general manager I will reach out to.
We sent him a map today, so he can't forget where that's at.
Okay. Cause I just feel like it's not fair to pay you more if I'm not getting it.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
I understand that, yes. Thank you, Ms. Martin. Anybody else? No, Ms. Appling, second chance? No, all right. Any announcements? Mr. Ross?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Bull? Mayor? Nothing? Mr. Cox?
I would just like to say thank you to all the staff and citizens that helped put on the parade,
Yeah.
and, Ms. Latricia for everything out at the Portsmouth Park.
I second that one, yes. Y'all did a great job, thank you very much. Ms. Gorman? Ms. Nelson? Ms. Baloo? Oh, no.
Very briefly. I just wanted to, a couple of heads up. So over I believe it was last week, June 30th, that you all should have received a letter from our office regarding Monterey boats. Under our agreement with the city, there are several things which we consider special projects which are not covered under our general services agreement. Those things are projects that we spend hours on and litigation. So those litigation automatically is a special project, so things like the peso foreclosure will be a special project. And then for Monterey Boats, the letter that you received, we've already spent 15 hours, over 15 hours, on that, going through leases, having meetings with Monterey Boats regarding these lease agreements. We anticipate, based on communications with Monterey, that there will be additional negotiations, lease agreements, and other conversations that we'll need to have. And so we would ask that the council approve a special project. It's difficult for us to say how much it will cost, because it really depends on how cooperative Monterey Boats is, and that's maybe difficult to say at this time, but that is our request based upon our agreement. So this isn't something that we need, just kind of a consensus on.
Did everybody receive that letter?
Oh, yes.
Yes. Oh, you have a question?
I have not.
Okay, hit it.
Monterey Boats is a private organization. Monterey Boats pays no taxes on the property they currently have under lease from the city. Monterey Boats is expanding, and now, according to that letter, we're going to charge I didn't mean to make you sneeze.
I'm sorry.
According to that letter, we potentially are gonna charge our citizens up to $10,000 to give land to a private company to enlarge their business. Is that accurate representation of what that letter said?
That letter says that if you would like our office has no position on whether we should continue negotiations, but if you would like our office to continue these discussions with Monterey Boats, it will be an additional cost on top of the retainer. We estimate up to 10,000. I know, she's allergic to the
whole
discussion
conversation. I'm with her.
But yes, essentially.
That's basically what that letter said. And I have expressed to the city manager in private meeting that I have some serious problems with charging our taxpayers a great deal of money to give a private organization more land. I don't understand the logic. I cannot believe that we would even consider it. I would tell them, Sorry, you can't have more land because it's gonna cost our taxpayers up to $10,000. I don't understand it. Yes,
If I may ask, is Deborah on, Aaron, is Deborah
If
on?
we did, I would never.
Yeah, she's on it. Deborah,
Will
you're on.
she speak to, she has some concerns also, is
Yeah.
it okay if we speak to this?
Yes,
Okay.
please. I was hoping she'd be online.
She's connected through, but I'm not sure if we're hearing her.
Tell her text me and I'll read her.
Exactly. Add the attorney cost to Monterey vote. Deborah, are you there?
Hang on. I gotta get everything adjusted here. Apparently we're muted. Kinda love it. All right, now, Deborah.
Is she there?
Are you there?
Yes,
Do you hear me now?
Yes, we got
we
you.
do.
Okay. Yes, I received a letter as well as you regarding Monterey votes from Souls and Walker. I would have loved to have known they were going to consider it a special project before they decided to make it a special project. I believe that we're just about through with all the things that need to be done out there. But I don't believe that we can, I believe that Benton and I can probably negotiate with them without pulling in the attorney. We've mostly done that because they requested that, not because we thought that we needed an attorney until we got to the point where things needed to be written. And I think we're about through with things that need to be done. Yes, they want to expand, but they've already got the property that they need to do that when they decide to do it.
I believe Deborah and Benton have been doing quite a bit of the work, haven't they? I'm in agreement with Deborah, Ms. Jones.
So I will say, the letter indicated that we've done 15 hours. We do not intend to bill 5 hours, the 5 hours that we've already gone over. Any additional time after this discussion, if we decide to go forward, it'll be a special project. That's what the letter is requesting that if you'd like us to continue being involved, that it will be a special project under our agreement, but not retroactively charging you for anything that's previously been done, other than what's already been covered under our general agreement.
So right
If
now,
that makes sense.
yeah, you've already put the 15 hours in.
Right,
Right.
anytime that we
But
put
after
in up
this-
to today is
After this, I
covered under
think
our
Deborah and Benton can do the work. Correct.
Okay, so you're not gonna charge for the hours you've already spent. That's what I was most concerned about.
No, correct. For everything except for litigation that you request that we start, we do come to you, and before we start charging it as a special project, to get it designated as a special project. I think one of the meetings was very long, and then we ended up going to 10, over 10.
So if Benton and I can negotiate with them and present you with the terms, you can do the lease, at a minimal amount.
Correct.
She's hesitating in case you can't see her.
No, she said correct.
Oh, was that you?
Yes.
Yes. Did you hear that, Deborah?
I did not. What did he say?
I said that's correct. The cost, if all the additional work will be drawing up a lease agreement. Typically, I'll say it depends on how complicated the lease agreement that you all negotiate is, but depending on the complicated nature of it, if it's fairly simple and standard, should be very minimal cost.
The land that they want to use for their additional plant, when they get ready to do that, is already under right of first refusal.
Right.
So it would simply be executing that portion of the lease at that time. It should be simpler.
Correct, so that should be relatively simple.
Yes.
Good. Did everybody understand that?
I did.
Okay. We're good? We got it? Thank you, Ms. Ballou, for that explanation. I know, I was thinking the whole thing. Deborah and Benton can be our in between go-to people, which they've been doing as is. Thank you, Deborah.
Yes, ma'am, thank you, you're doing a great job.
Wait till you get back. Any other announcements? Ms. Wright?
I want to piggyback off of Donald and Councilmember Cox. Thank you everyone that helped with the 4th of July, and to Paul Lord as well. Thank you for the extra help that you all gave. This year's the first year I had extra help setting up all the vendors and the stage and everything at Horseman's Park. And it was a breeze, and it could not have been done without the help of the utility department.
And I
thank you
thank
guys
everybody
very
for the
much.
new hires that we are allowed to do that with, but the extra help was really good, so I thank you all for that.
And I also want to thank the police department as well.
They're all right. They're all right. I have one request. The poor utility people that were on the road, next year, let's supply them with some water.
We did.
With water.
We did.
The utility department, they did not have any water in their truck.
Wasn't Brooke driving around here?
You may not have seen it. Brooke did a drive around and she hit everybody up and systematically went through the line and got everyone some water. So we really appreciate that.
Okay, all right, thank you, Brooke, wherever you are. Any other announcements? No? All right, I would love a motion to adjourn, followed by a second.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
And I'll second.
Ooh, I heard it. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. I was quick there.